equation that your parents probably will give you a reaction to if you say, do you remember the quadratic formula?
My parents said calculus in 8th grade. Whoa,
I tell my parents stuff and they go, ew, I hate math. No. That's
See,
what
my
my
dad read
would.
my algebra book for fun. My parents don't know what it is.
They have no idea what it is.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can do this off the top of my head. So, this is not part of my formal notes, but this is something that we're going to work on. All right.
That's not the formula, is it?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
I
was gonna say, I know it.
I just did this.
I don't remember that.
This is the generic trinomial.
I know, that's why I said
Y
it.
is 0. Again, you learn how to factor so you can find zeros. The zeros are where the parabola crosses the x-axis. You learned how to solve equations that just had squares, so you took square roots. And then you learned how to do the completing the square, so you could find the zeros. That's the whole point. All right? So you found the vertex. You did vertex form for today. Today you're learning quadratic formula, which gives you another way of finding zeros, because there's infinitely many trinomials that you cannot factor. Okay? And sometimes it's better just to use the quadratic formula versus completing the square. So, let's take the generic trinomial form and complete the square. And solve for x. I want to get x by itself. Are you ready? I haven't done this in a while, so you have to forgive me if I make a mistake. So we got to get c to the left. So minus c equals ax squared plus bx, correct?
Yes.
What else do I need to do?
Divide by a.
That's right. Everything has to be divided by a.
Oh gosh, this is confusing.
Well, is this right so far?
Yeah.
Okay. C has to be on
It's
the
just
opposite
confusing.
side, and a has to be positive 1. Those are the first two things for completing the square. So we have negative c over a equals x squared plus b over a x. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
Now we can complete the square.
What? How?
Well, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to take this coefficient, which is the b position, and do what?
Divide by 2.
Divided by 2. So I'm just going to write this down for a chicken scratch here. So b over a, I got divided by 2, and then I got to square it, right? And add it to both sides. All right, so what does this become? How do I get rid of a fraction inside of a fraction?
B over a.
This is the
Multiply
top
by the
reciprocal.
reciprocal.
times the reciprocal at the bottom, which then gives you what?
1/2. BA times 1/2.
Which,
B over a times 1/2.
which is, put them together,
1/2 baby.
2 b over a.
No, B over 2a.
Yeah, b over 2a. What does that sound like? Almost like the axis of symmetry.
Oh, which
Okay,
would be
so-
negative B over 2a.
Well, this is b over 2a for right now, okay? So let me rewrite this. So we have negative c over a plus b over 2a. We're going to square it here in a minute. I told, because that's what we always do when we're putting it with the c, right? All right, and then on the right side we have x squared plus b over a x plus b squared over 4a squared. Do you agree?
No.
And I said not to do it there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back. Everybody just don't freak out yet, all right? Remember I said, when you put it in this position, leave it in the parentheses because you're going to square it, right? Why do we leave it in the parentheses?
Because that'll be what the.
Because that's what gives you this position here when you factor it. So what does this factor to?
X plus B over 2a.
Thank you. And this becomes, I'm going to put this, everybody watch. I'm going to put this in front of this. I'm just moving this into the front, right? So I'm going to have, and I'm going to figure this out. This is b squared all over 4a squared, now minus c over a. Everybody agree that that's the same thing?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm getting confused, but it's not. I'm confused about the formula.
Okay, let's go back. Do you understand what, up to this point?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Hey. Okay, back up. Which step are you lost at?
I get lost at after the divided by A.
You get this?
Kind of.
Do you understand why we divide by A?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we took half of this position. This is the B position, which is what we did here. And we got B over 2A. And then you got to square it. You've got to add it to both sides. That's what this position is up here. We added B over 2A squared to both sides. That's completing the square. Okay. Now this is that same position there without it being squared. You understand that? If you factored this trinomial, you'd get that from completing the square. Okay? So this, I just squared this. That's B squared. That's 4A squared. Correct? And then I just put it in front of the minus CA. You with me so far? None of it means anything yet, but it will. Okay? Well, I got to get x by itself, but I can't get x because it's inside here. How do I manipulate this? What are we supposed to do to complete the square root? Square root, both sides. What happens when we take the square root of both sides? What do you get? 2 answers? So we get plus or minus. This is going to be plus or minus the square root of b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. Now, we're going to mess with this here in a second. What do I have over here?
S plus B over A.
b over 2a.
Why is it 2A?
The square root only gets rid of the square. Square root of 2 is 9. Okay, so we want to get x by itself. Subtract the b over 2a, right? That looks familiar. Minus b over 2a. Plus or minus square root of b squared minus c, b squared over 4a squared minus c over a equals x. What did I do? I just subtracted off the b over 2a from both sides. Are you hanging with me? I subtracted this minus b over 2a. And put it in front over here.
I don't see what it has to do with the lesson, I guess.
You're going to. I'm just saying, do you understand what I've done so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, mathematically I've not done anything that's invalid. Okay? I want to put these two fractions together. What does that have to be?
Squared.
Needs 4 too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if we multiply by 4a, we'd have to multiply the top by 4a. This becomes, I'm going to rewrite it right here. X equals, we got a minus b over 2a, plus or minus. Inside this radical, again we got the b squared minus 4a squared. Now what do we have here?
Minus 4ac
4ac
over 4a squared.
over 4a squared. Well, when you have two, okay, yeah.
Right down there, when you multiply it by 4a, that don't have no line. Is it just because you multiply the reciprocal?
No, I need the denominators to be the same to add or subtract them together. That I know I can make a squared by multiplying by a, and I can get a 4 by multiplying by 4, so I just multiplied it by 4a. Okay, now this has nothing to do with your lesson other than I'm showing you where the formula came from. You aren't going to have to do this.
Thank God.
Okay? But I want you to have this in your notes. Okay, now, since those have the same denominator, can I put them all over one denominator?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have b squared minus 4ac in the top and 4a squared on the bottom.
Are we done?
No, because I can continue to simplify. Now let's rewrite it again, but rewrite it like this. Is that correct?
You
Can I
square
do
it
that?
down. It'll be 2a.
Keep going, keep with me.
It's over 2a.
Can you take the square root of
The bottom is 2.
You cannot take the square root of this because of this minus sign. These are pieces. If it was all multiplication, you could. But since you have a minus or a plus sign in there, you cannot do that.
It's a big
Okay? So now, x equals opposite of b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. That is now over 2a without the radical. Square root of 4 is 2, square root of a squared is a. Now these two fractions have the same denominator. X equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And that is the quadratic formula.
You know that, you guys? Yeah.
So they just didn't come up with this
That's great.
out of nowhere. They took the generic formula, completed the square, and solved for x.
So that's what we're doing today, not all the.
You must memorize this.
Oh, my first.
So we don't have to memorize all that.
This.
That.
5 percentage points to the person or all the people that sing this quadratic song. Minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. You sing that in front of the whole class, and it's correct and loud, you get 5% extra on the test.
Plus,
Oh
God, I gotta do it.
And you can't just sing it once. It's 2 times through.
You know I do that.
And it's x equals, you don't say the x equals. But on your papers, you need to understand you're finding what x is. This is a 0. You're finding zeros. When y is 0, right? Y was 0, you're finding x. Alright, so example 1.
I'm not that far yet.
Wait, is it minus b plus or minus?
Can you sing it
Plus
again?
minus.
Yeah, can you sing it again?
I'm good.
I'll sing it.
Ready?
Remember it.
Are we ready? Come on, we gotta get through this.
I'm ready now.
Square root of these.
This is how that's
Minus
on
4ac.
Alright, example 1. 9 equals 7x squared minus 2x. Move all to one side. Completing the square, you have to move c to the other side. So now you're moving everything to one side because you want it to look like this.
So should be minus 9.
So yeah, 0 equals 7x squared minus 2x minus 9. See
The
it?
other people are gonna walk in and freak out.
That's right, just tell them they're going to have to do this. Okay.
And tell them that we all get it and write it.
Alright, listen. A is 7. What's B? And what's C? That's right. And if you know A, B, and C, oh, you can do this calculation. Huh? Yeah. So, on every problem,